mass is, I should say, in your kidney. Okay.
Is it okay if I'm on the screen?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. Okay. Let me see.
Unfortunately, I'm the baby and I have two older sisters.
Oh, they look after you a little bit. That's good. That's important. It's important. What I'm going to do is I'll show you the X-ray here. Okay. Here's the MRI from February. Okay.
And I was supposed to get another MRI for my prostate, but the machine broke.
Yeah.
So I'm getting it in Longmont on May 3rd.
Great. Okay. And that'll be another issue that we'll address, but that's going to be after our conversation about this. So let me show you what we're dealing with.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the MRI. Okay. And the way that this works, it goes from the belly button all the way to your back. Okay. And so as we come through here, okay, what we see is a lot of interesting organs like the liver and the stomach and all that. Okay. That all sits in the front, and the kidneys sit way behind everything. Okay. So they sit way back in the back area. And as we keep going, here's the right kidney right here, okay? This is the right kidney. This is the front side of the right kidney, and what we see as I go to the very front, oh, there's a funny little mass sitting at the very bottom towards the front of the right kidney, okay? And by the time we get here, it's long gone, okay? Now, you do have some additional cysts, like for instance, this little guy, okay? But what we ultimately see is that everything else looks just fine, okay? So the mass of interest is the one that sits at the very front at the bottom of the kidney right here. Okay, that's the one we're interested in, okay? Now, currently, mass is small, okay? How suspicious or concerning is it? Mildly, moderately, okay?
I mean, I only have one kidney, so...
And fundamentally, you are correct, yeah. So we use this funny terminology, functionally you have one kidney, okay? So now let's go to the other side of interest. And one of the interesting things that I'll make commentary about is when we take a look at this kidney here, okay? If you notice it has a very C-like shape. Okay?
Yes.
And what's really interesting is the meatiness or how thick this kidney is. This kidney is super thick, okay? And so what's really interesting is that, the million-dollar question is that it actually looks thicker than most people's kidneys. And why the heck is that? Well, probably because this kidney went south on you not recently, but a long time ago.
Okay, when you say it's the right, is that my bad one?
This is the good one.
Okay.
The right's the good one, and the left is the bad one.
That's right.
Yep.
And
so what's interesting is if you take a look right here, okay, look at how thin this C is compared to this C.
Yes.
Okay? So you can see that they are massively different in terms of the thickness, okay?
Yes.
Or the thinness, okay? So the right kidney is, as I would describe it, as your super kidney.
Is that better or worse
healthy.
to be thicker?
Oh, it's way better to be thick, okay?
Okay.
So this kidney happens to be beautifully functioning well, okay? And interestingly, it looks great, okay? Now, the left kidney happens to be quite a bit smaller in dimension compared to the right. But most importantly, the thickness of the kidney is really crappy.
Yes,
okay?
It's nothing compared to the other.
Side, okay?
Right.
So, what we know is that, thanks to the, the scan that Dr.
Yes.
ordered, we know that this kidney barely works at all.
Right.
And then to make matters even more interesting, what we have is, unfortunately, we've got a little mass that we need to go over, which is right, where the heck was it? It's right here. Here's the mass here, okay? So this is the area that we are concerned about, okay? And again, it's not real big, but it's certainly much bigger than the other side. So just for comparison's sake, you can see here's the one mass right here. Okay,
and how big do you think that actually is?
This one is about 2 centimeters, and the other one is probably about 3.5.
Okay.
So it is bigger. Okay.
Yes.
Now, how worried am I about this mass? Not that worried. Okay. It might decancer. Okay. There it is right there. That's the best picture of it, probably right there. Okay, so here's a hint of it, and then this is probably the mass area right here. This is the renal mass. Okay, so the question is that cancer? And what I would realistically tell you, it might very well be. How often is it cancer? Maybe 50% of the time. Okay. What I would also tell you is that is this in a size range that, oh my God, you're going to die from this thing? The odds are extremely low. Okay. That meaning that right now, even if it is cancer, at this size range, this doesn't pose a threat or a risk to your life, really. Okay? This is
Yeah,
not
right now,
serious.
right.
Yeah,
Will it keep on growing?
yeah. And that's the question is that, it very well may.
And it has gotten bigger
Not
from
only
a
bigger, right,
few
exactly
years
right.
ago.
That's right. May continue to grow over time. And really, as we take a look at these markings here on the side and we kind of do that, it's about 3.5, something like that, okay? As the mass starts to get pushed up into the 4.5, okay, is really when it's kind of like, you better get this thing out, okay? So we're already sitting at 3.5.
Well, something hanging there dead. Don't you think we should just take it out?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You've gotten to the punchline. Okay. So my best recommendation is to get rid of this thing. We know that this kidney doesn't work.
Oh, it's been like this since
forever.
2011.
Maybe longer than that. Yeah, exactly.
I remember when they told me it was atrophic.
Yeah, atrophic. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly right. And so, I think that this is really probably congenital in nature, meaning that you've always had this problem.
Well, I've went through a lot of kidney uric acid stones. I would say 2025. And instead of giving me allopurinol, they just did nothing. And my uric acid, without being controlled, is 11 something. So, and for some reason, the right one didn't really get hurt as much as that left one, where the left one just got eaten up.
Sure. So, my opinion is that I think you'd be better off getting rid of this guy. Now, interestingly, if this kidney was beautiful and healthy, I would tell you that I'd probably just take out the mass.
Right.
But since the kidney is really not
No, it doesn't make sense.
No, it makes no sense. Okay. So, I would tell you just get rid of it. Now, the good news is that, we still have to follow the right mass, okay, right here.
Right.
Okay? And, it is possible that that's cancer as well, okay? So the million-dollar question is, well, when do you intervene? Well, again, we're looking at about 2 centimeters or so. So we do have some time to follow this. Now, if I were going to put the mass somewhere in a good spot, okay, that's where I'd put it, right there, okay? So the good news is that it's not hard at all to get rid of that mass and be done with this, okay? So we can save, this kidney. There's zero reason to think that we can't, okay? And we can safely get rid of this mass another day, okay? So if
that's what you want to do, you can't do them both at the same.
No, weirdly enough, they are completely two separate operations.
Okay.
They literally sit in the back area and completely different spaces. So, we don't actually advise doing both sides at all. It actually really becomes two operations. And if God forbid anything happened, with either side, that would be a bad thing. So our better recommendation is leave that be.
Yes.
Okay, and get this kidney out. I think that's fair to say.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Now, they say I have not cirrhosis, psoriasis of the liver.
Oh, cirrhosis. Oh, is that what they said? Cirrhosis of the liver?
CIRR?
Yeah.
And I haven't drank since I was 33.
Oh, were you a heavy drinker, though?
I was normal like everybody else. I wasn't like a weekly, maybe a weekend drinker. But I mean, I was young.
Oh yeah.
And the only reason I stopped at 33 isn't because of any problems I had. The only problem I had was I gotten older and the recovery time wasn't first thing in the morning anymore. It took more of a couple of days. And so then I was like, forget that. And that's why I really haven't drank since.
Good, that's great. And so, that may be an issue because, of course, what comes along with cirrhosis. Okay, unfortunately, sometimes people are at a higher risk of bleeding and having issues, when they have cirrhosis. Okay, now, interestingly, the removal of this kidney, luckily, is not typically dangerous or hard.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be a problem. I mean, heck, we've been doing it since since the 40s.
Not even that. I mean, what I mean by that is the cirrhosis can make bleeding a higher risk issue.
Right.
Because what happens is the liver is responsible for all the things that make the blood clot up.
Okay. And
so for some people, if you have bad cirrhosis, you just don't clot very well. Okay? Now, the good news is that in the vast majority of cases, the complete removal of the kidney is a much easier endeavor than trying to take out a
spot, right?
So that's why, again, I think that it's reasonable to try to take this out. But what we would need to do is I do need you to go to some place called the Impact Clinic, which basically takes a look at you and says, hey, obviously Dr. Lee is not a medical doctor. We do want to get some eyes on you to say, hey, are you safe to undergo surgery, or is there a real risk here about bleeding and so forth? Okay, so one of the things we will do is I always tell patients, everybody, go to the Impact Clinic. That's with UC Health, okay? And then what I also advise you to do is go to your primary doctor and just say, hey, listen, I need my kidney out. Can you at least address, is this a risk from a cirrhosis standpoint or not? And if they say, oh yeah, well then obviously we may need to make different plans, okay?
You didn't get those records?
No. So, what's going to be real important is that whenever people undergo surgery, the important thing is to make sure you get what we call medical clearance for surgery.
Right.
Obviously Dr. Lee is a kidney expert, but not a medical expert, so I do need you to go see your primary doctor to kind of go over all that stuff.
All right.
Very important to do that, okay? So, does this all make sense?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, good. Let me tell you a little bit about the surgery, okay? Now, this is all done laparoscopically, okay? So what I'm going to do is just to make tiny little poke holes that are about 1/4 to 1/2 inch in size, okay? That allows me to use a sharp instrument to drill into the abdominal space, inflate the entire abdominal space with gas, okay? And I operate through these laparoscopic ports to allow me to bring a camera inside to see the inside of your body. What I'm able to do is use scissors and all sorts of other instruments to free up the kidney and then get it out of you, okay? This kidney is small. I probably need to make about 2, maybe 3 inch incision to get this kidney out. That's about all the space I need to get it out. So it's not hard to do. It's very easy, actually, okay? As long as the cirrhosis is not a big
It's very, very small and not a huge problem.
No,
As I was reading,
no,
I was already reading.
Yeah.
I read everything. If you want to see it, I can show you the notes.
No.
But it's already.
No, you should be perfectly fine.
So I'm not even worried.
Yep. And again, as long as the cirrhosis is not an issue, I see 0 issues with getting this kidney out. That's easy
And I can
enough
get
to
that.
do.
I'll be there Tuesday,
Okay, good.
so I'll make sure that I get clearance then.
Good. That'd be great. Yeah.
And you tell me where else to go, and I'll go. You
Yeah.
said to some other clinic.
It's called the Impact Clinic, and what they'll do is they'll get you in pretty soon, probably in the next few weeks or so.
All right.
Surgery realistically is going to be about 6 to 8 weeks from now.
All right.
So it'll be a while.
Perfect.
Anyway. So that'll give us some time to just make sure that you're medically okay to go do this.
About the time I get my passport, it'll be perfect.
Ah, there you go. What is involved with the surgery is that weirdly enough, we're going to go ahead and get you sound asleep for the surgery. Okay. And when you wake up, you're going to have an infusion of lidocaine in the vein, and you're going to be shocked by it. It's not this god-awful painful thing anymore. It used to be, but not anymore, okay? So I think you'll be absolutely fine. You'll stay in the hospital one night and then go home.
All right.
That'll be it. Okay. So that's typically what we see with most of our patients, okay? But, again, this should be fine. I think it will be okay.
I feel pretty good. I mean, my sister looked you up, man.
Oh,
you got great reviews.
Oh, that's nice.
So there you go.
Good. There you go. Yeah. So.
She was very happy.
Oh, that's good. Okay, good. Yeah, I do a lot of this stuff. So, yeah. So that's the deal. Now, we got to deal with the PSA issue and the MRI, and certainly I'll be excited to see what the results look like. How soon are you doing the MRI again?
May 3rd.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
And that's a long month.
Okay, perfect. Would you mind doing me the oddest favor? Just send me a message or a call.
Absolutely.
After you get it done. That way I can get back to you about what I think of it.
Not a problem.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. So do that. And we'll go from there. But obviously, we just, even if there's a problem on the MRI, unless it's, god awful, most likely we'll just do it in order. We'll take care of the kidney. And if we need to look at the prostate, we can certainly get back to that.
All right.
This mass over here that we've been talking about, my best advice with this thing is look, you had the scan back in February. What we would want to do is, if this turns out to be cancer on the left side, okay, if this mass happens to be cancer, okay, what we'll want to do is we'll want to do some follow-up x-rays, which will beautifully help us to look at that guy as
awesome.
Well. So it covers both, okay. Now, if this one is not cancer, we'll still want to look at that probably right around 6 to 8 months from now.
Not a problem.
Okay, so we'll get another look at that and see if we're worried at all. Okay, but right now, I think that's the right sequence. This is the bigger mass. Okay, in a not healthy kidney. let's get that out and taken care of.
Yeah, Dr. Pierce felt the same way.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And, we can continue to monitor and see what happens with the other mass that we're dealing with. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that guy right there.
All right.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, great. Any
Awesome.
questions for me about any of this?
Not